All right, Safe House
What's up,
family,
Safe
how you
House?
doing? We are here at our home in lovely Orland Park,
Orland
Illinois.
Park, yes.
And we just want to give you a heads up of the new season of Safe House. And in this season, we're doing something a little bit different. What you're going to see over the next couple of episodes is something we'd like to call Safe House Conversations. These conversations are conversations we're having with live couples. So we're getting together with people. So you're going to see raw, sort of uncut discussion.
Yeah, it was really good discussion.
Really good discussion.
Yes, I know you're going to enjoy it.
And we're releasing this one for Sweetest Day because one of the topics is about Sweetest Day, but we're going to dig into a whole lot more than just Sweetest Day. So please like, share, and subscribe. Definitely leave comments.
Oh, yeah, we definitely want to hear what you have to say after this first one.
Right. This one gets a little deep, but we hope you enjoy the couples. Babe, anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's it. Like I said, just looking forward to hearing some of the comments because this is, if you've missed the first two seasons, let me tell you, you do not want to miss this one.
All right, so buckle up and get ready for Safe House Conversations.
Yes.
And what's up, Safe House family? How you doing out there?
What's up, Safe House? We back.
We back with another episode, and we're a little bit different this time. We're not just doing Safe House in the usual spot. As you can see, we are in the lovely home of the McNeils.
Yes.
Safe House
on the road.
on location.
Yes.
Safe House on location.
Exactly.
But we're here today, and we're going to have an interesting discussion with different couples around reality versus folklore. Reality versus folklore, babe. What is the word reality and folklore?
Fantasy. That's what I think about.
Fantasy.
Like I said, not like fantasy.
Here we
like
go.
Fantasy Island.
Here we
or
go.
Nothing like that. So when I think about, so instead of fantasy, I'll say like fairy tale. Like marriage isn't like, we're just gonna live happily ever after. And so when you hear that terminology, you think, we're never gonna have any problems. We're never gonna have any issues or anything like that. So that's what I think about when you say folklore versus the reality of, okay, marriage is hard work. Marriage, you gotta work at it. There are going to be moments where it's going to be tough. Yeah. We still can live happily ever after, but you got to work at happily ever after.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the backdrop for this discussion is we know we got Sweetest Day coming up. So we got Sweetest Day coming up.
For the brothers.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that because what is the reality versus the folklore around Sweetest Day? Many people celebrate Sweetest Day and say, hey, this is the day that's designed around the brothers. When Sweetest Day was established in the late 1930s by candy makers. And they literally established this holiday for the purposes of people buying candy.
I like candy.
And it wasn't focused on any particular gender. It was just whoever you found to deserve sweet, that should be your sweetest person that you give sweets to. At some point, the Sweetest Day became about men. I don't know where it originated from, but really it developed that way. It's a Midwestern holiday, started literally in Ohio, and then spread out through the rest of the country throughout the years, and generally accepted as a holiday that we use to sort of celebrate others. But the real intent is to give sweets to the person you care about.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, I feel like I just found out 2 years ago that Sweetest Day was for boys, for the men.
Right.
Because we never really celebrate.
But that's not even really the reality, right, of what Sweetest Day is about.
Yeah. I just thought it was just a day where it was another day where, like you said, you can give me some candy and we get a gift and, and go to dinner or do whatever.
Yeah. Well, do you want to turn it to our guests and find out what they think about the myth, the reality of Sweetest Day? So I'd like to introduce to you, we have Zai and Kia Funches.
Hi.
So tell us about myth and reality around Sweetest Day for y'all.
First off, that was really good. To be honest, I never even heard of Sweetest Day until after being married. Even before, even the whole candy thing, elementary school, I don't remember this day of, we're bringing each other candy because you're my sweetest person that I like. I never even heard of Sweetest Day until my 20s. And I'm 30 now.
Oh.
So how do you guys celebrate it, or do you celebrate it?
So we don't necessarily celebrate it. It's just one of those days that just come and go. It's more of a everyday thing. We show appreciation to each other.
Okay. Do you guys celebrate Valentine's Day?
We do.
Okay.
So
What's the difference?
So I feel like society has made Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day and Mother's Day one of those days where the world you are designed to, celebrate the woman in your life, directly. But yeah, Sweetest Day for us is just another day. Here it comes and goes.
I'm interested to get Kia's perspective here.
So I did hear about Sweetest Day and it being a day to celebrate the men. We are married, so we have our ups and our downs. So I feel like when I'm not getting my way, by the time October, whatever comes by, I'm not celebrating it. And it just so happens that he didn't know what it was. So
Kind of works in your favor.
Right. You know how they work things out in their favor.
Right.
I kind of like have the upper hand there. So if you don't say anything, I won't say anything. So
I would say then the reciprocity wasn't there for me to know to find out what
You didn't even know you was missing out.
Right.
I didn't at all.
This
You know now, though.
right. So this year, I can say, like, all jokes aside, I do have plans on celebrating him next weekend for Sweetest Day, because I feel a lot better. We have had a lot of positive transitions, and we're finally getting to where I feel like the good spaces are, the better spaces are. So, I might have something up my sleeve next week. And if I don't, I just don't.
Right. I won't hold my breath, but I will be looking like.
Right.
But our wedding anniversary is always the week after. So October 26th. So another thing when I'm not, if I don't feel like I'm going to get my way.
That's very interesting. Yeah. We're gonna have to delve into that.
Yeah. You just know there's a naughty and nice list for you, right?
Right. And you might not get no sweets.
Right. Kia Claus is not coming to town.
Okay.
Definitely.
So now let's look at the McNeils and say, so what is myth and reality around Sweetest Day in the McNeil household? Which y'all have a lovely home here, by the way.
Thank you.
So thank you for hosting us.
Go ahead.
Of course. Well, you know what? So both days are pretty special to us. Our anniversary is actually on Valentine's Day.
All right.
So, and Sweetest Day is a day that I typically celebrate my man, because I just love him and appreciate him and everything that he does for me and brings just such joy into my life. So I think for us, our anniversary is usually his time to really cater to me. And we use Sweetest Day as kind of the opposite of my day to cater to him. Okay. And so that's just kind of how we've done it. But we kind of both knew the origin of both, but we just split it down the middle. You get your day and I get mine, right? And that's also a day of if we got drama going on, because, marriage, fantasy, reality, we just set it to the side. This is a day to just put it on the shelf, have a little fun.
Bow chicka wow wow.
We can pick it back up if we need to.
Right.
Once the day is done.
We'll start fighting tomorrow.
That's
We're
right.
going to take care of this business.
Right.
Right. The most important business. You understand?
Right.
All right.
Y'all just getting straight to it.
No filter, no chaser.
That's marriage, though.
That's marriage.
Right. We need that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what about us? I mean, it's Sweetest Day has just been kind of weird for us because we're just kind of like,
I feel like it was like that when we were dating.
Yeah.
It was like we never really kind of acknowledged it. I mean, we always celebrate each other on Valentine's Day, but I always feel like you go out a little bit more for me than I go out for you. I don't know if that's just a gender thing or whatever, but men feel like, hey, it's like you said, it's more the day where we're celebrating the woman. And so, the gifts seem to be a little bit more extravagant or anything like that, But the one thing I do love about when we do Valentine's Day is that you always make sure that Hannah is celebrated. Since she was 1, Andre has always given her a gift, so that's always her expectation, because once again, like you said, even as, as married couples and we have kids, you have to set the bar. And so when we were talking about this earlier today about how we teach them. And so even for Hannah, we like, listen, we want you to know that whoever is giving you a gift, that first of all, it should just come from the heart. Because, it's not like Andre was giving her anything expensive. Like the one year you gave her, I mean, oh my God. He just got her, those little plastic, I don't want to call them the little plastic bracelets, right? Hannah wore the plastic off of that bracelet and she lost it. I mean, and she was like in for real tears about not having that. And so I had to like go out. I was like, okay, I'm gonna find another Valentine's card because it was in a Valentine's card. I had to go out and find another Valentine's card, the same card that had the same bracelets. Because once again, I don't think you realize how much that meant to her. So when we talk about Valentine's Day, that to me is what does it for me on Valentine's Day. That when he celebrates Hannah, so like I said, I like that he gives me stuff, but I really love watching him celebrate Hannah. And I do the same thing with AJ. So I give him a gift every year on Valentine's Day.
Oh, I love that.
How old was Hannah, the bracelet story? How old was Hannah?
Oh, man.
It wasn't that long ago, believe it or not, because we got her bracelets, and then what's funny is you got her that other bracelet, and then I just bought her a whole bunch of bracelets because
Right, because we didn't want her to lose them.
We didn't want, and then
I was surprised she was crying about it. I mean, but she was like, I lost my bracelet. I think she lost it at during one of her clinicals.
Yeah, during one of her clinicals.
But that's just how long. But that's just how long she had
She was in
it.
college.
Because she was wearing it like every day. Like it's like a part of her wardrobe. Like she was wearing it every day. But I
Good
feel
luck,
like
Hannah's husband.
we say that all the time. We say that all the time. Hannah's husband has a bar that he has to live up to.
What is the intention in the gift? It's not necessarily that it's not the gift, but like your heart was in that gift and she felt that. And that's really big.
That's real
especially when we talk about our kids.
Father love.
And how, we want our kids to grow up and, be around people that are going to love them and not make it conditional or put love into these different things that are just like, we see on social media and stuff and all these all that stuff. Just because you spend this much money doesn't mean that that's love, but like you put your heart in that, like that's big. That's good for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. All right. Yes. Thank you. Praise the Lord. So then let's dig into the meat of the content, right? So now we're talking about realities versus folklore. And I know we've got some questions that our guests have. We got some questions that we got from the viewers. So how do we kick this thing off?
Well, I feel like the most appropriate way to kick it off is to start in the bedroom.
Start in the bedroom, okay.
We like the bedroom. Ladies, do we not like the bedroom? That's what I'm saying. Let's talk about the bedroom.
All right, so what's a bedroom question?
So the bedroom question is, it could be, I feel like, is the bedroom really undefiled? Does anything go? Or do couples have to set the pace about what happens, in the bedroom? And also who gets to be the one to initiate it. Yeah. I know that was a big problem for us. Like I always thought the man should initiate it. So for a long time, I just never initiated it. And then Andre was like, well, I wish you would initiate sometimes. And I was like, well, why? Because in my mind, I just thought that's just what the guys did. And so Andre was like, well, I need you to start initiating because it makes me feel like I'm wanted, that you're chasing me. And I was like, but once again, I'm going with my own ideas and what I think I understand about even sex, period. Not even just marriage, but just the idea of sex, or when boys and girls get together, it's usually the boy who initiates everything. So I'm thinking that was just the way that it was supposed to go. So that was like a big learning curve for me in the bedroom, trying to figure out. I literally had to learn how to initiate.
Where do you think that mental model came from for you, like for men being the initiators of sex? Where do you think that came from?
Probably television. When you look at TV and I don't think I'd ever seen a space where the woman was the one asking. You know, it was always the
You
man.
must not watch any programs since like 2016
Shut up.
because it seemed like every
Once
movie.
again, we were married. No,
Like,
but
shoot,
to your
these
point,
movies out here. Woo.
No, but once again, it's so different now.
Yeah.
Okay. We got married in 1994.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So even on those types of television shows, it was still like you didn't really see the woman. I don't want to use the aggressor, but you didn't really see her as the pursuer. You know, the woman was always sweet and demure and waiting for him to ask you out and be like, okay, you know, then he'd sweep you up and it's all those things, you know. And so I just never, like I said, that was a big learning curve for me. And Andre really had to, you know, like I said, until Andre started making a big deal about it, I literally had to learn like how to do that because I was always waiting for him to initiate. So if he didn't initiate, then nothing was going to happen.
Where did you learn?
I started reading some books. Yeah, I started reading books and I just started asking, you know, like other married women, like, okay, what are some of the things that I could do that would give him an indication that, okay, that I want this? You know, so sometimes it was just about setting the atmosphere, you know, music or whatever it was. But at least he would know that it wasn't always his responsibility to be the one to initiate.
So,
I think that if we go back a little bit, women are not usually the ones to initiate it, and guys are usually the ones to initiate it. But if you go back to childhood, look at how girls are told to not do anything sexual, sensual, or anything. But boys are given that, the magazines and the, you know, the visuals and stuff. So then when you get older, because I struggle with that big time. Like when I got older, I'm like, oh, I'm married now and I'm supposed to be the Bible says I'm supposed to be busting wide open. But growing up in a household that I grew up in, baby, if you had sex, you was pregnant. Yeah, and I'm not taking care of no pregnant teen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But now it's like that's years. So now I'm married and it's okay if I'm pregnant. It's okay. Like, you know? Oh, yeah. And then even if we talk, we got childhood, right? And how that's introduced when you're kids, when you're a boy versus a girl. And then also if you have some type of sexual trauma, that's another thing. So I don't know how deep y'all trying to get. we can put a pin in that, but like I do feel like that's something that more people should talk about, and not just with their therapist, because it's more common than we think for women, but also for men. Right.
Me and Andre had to talk about that because, like I said, for a long time, like I said, you know how like you said, when you have sexual trauma because you were molested or whatever, you know, you try to block that out and you just try to move forward. And so I finally had to say to him, I'm like, you know what? I was molested as a kid. I said, so I'm struggling with, you know, with how this all is supposed to work. And so I even had to struggle with, like I said, so if he asked, my answer was always going to be yes. Because when you get molested, your no doesn't go anywhere. So I just never felt like I could say, no, not tonight, maybe tomorrow or whatever. And so it wasn't until I was able to get to a place where I'm like, okay, because it was frustrating to him because he was like, okay, if we're not going to be doing this and if we can't connect in this space, then something must be wrong. And so once I told him what was going on with me, then everything changed because then he was giving me grace in that space to work my way through that, instead of him just thinking that I was just straight rejecting him and I didn't want him. But like I said, I owned that part because I just never said what was going on with me, because part of it was a big part of shame. You know, you don't want to say like, well, man, you know, I got molested and so now that's why I got all these ideas about sex and all this other kind of stuff. So we had to really work through that. I think that's why he's like laughs now when I'm always like, okay, let's go. Why? Because I've worked through all of those issues, you know. So,
thank you for sharing that story, Lana. I appreciate that.
Yes, and that's really important because that's what I want to get at. Because for the longest, I felt like I wasn't desired. So it was like I was going to ask, did you, in those moments when you weren't initiating it, in your mind, did you still desire him? Like you wanted him, but you just didn't know how to outwardly express
Absolutely.
that.
I was always praying about it. I was like, God, please help me to be able to express this, because I knew how frustrating it was for him. Because I always wanted you to know that. I'm like, I love you. I want to be able to do this. I understand that this is an important part of our relationship, and like I said, there were many a nights my pillow was soaked with tears because I never wanted him to feel rejected, but I also didn't know like how to literally like break free of that hold of what happened to me when I was a kid. So I'm fighting against both of them. And part of it was, like you said, just having an opportunity to be able to talk to somebody to talk you through it. But the other part was spiritual. I had to ask God to be like, okay, I need you to deliver me from this, because I don't know how to get myself out of it. So it literally took like a deliverance service. You understand what I'm saying? For that thing to just kind of like lift off of me, because that was my biggest desire, was to be able to be free from that. So that way that wouldn't be a block for intimacy with Andre, because that's exactly what it was. It was a block. So when we say the bedroom is undefiled, when you in your molestation head, you're like, okay, well, even if you don't like something that your spouse is introducing, there's nothing that says to you that you can say no to that. You just feel like, okay, well then everything goes. Everything is on the table, even if I don't like it. So then it was like, once I started to really break free of that, then I think that's when I found my voice. How do you feel about that?
I agree 100%, right? And so now you chasing me around.
Right, I know. I am.
Right.
He's like, oh God, again? I'm like, sorry. Come on. Let's go. Right, I'm free. Right.
I just want to be held.
Right.
Just a piece of me. It's like, can't we just hold hands?
Can't we just cuddle?
Right,
like,
watch a movie or something like that.
Right. I mean, that's
just an
real
object.
talk. Right. I'm like, and I told him, I said, I don't want to apologize for that, because I know how far I've come.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I know how far I've come.
I laugh and joke with everything, but I celebrate where she's come from and where she is.
I bet you do.
So, do you have a folklore reality story around this?
Well, listen, no knives. No knives. No knives in the bedroom. No knives. It's my rule.
I like Gabby's face.
That's my rule.
Wait, she like this.
But we can have guns though.
No knives, no sharp objects.
So
go ahead.
So in our relationship, I've been the pursuer.
For the most part.
For the most part. That was the origin of how our marriage was. And I think like what you kind of described in some ways around like feeling like, okay, I don't know, but like I'll let you speak for you. But I remember, you okay if I share the honeymoon story? So we're on our honeymoon. And I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna ride him until the wheels fall off, right? Like, are we married now?
Wow.
You can put your little guilty feelings down. Finally, it's about to go down. Right. So every day, I'm like, all right, it's time. And I remember when he was like, I just need a break. I'm not a piece of meat. And I was like,
yes, you are.
You are. You're my meat. And the Bible, I was like, the Bible says the body belongs to the wife.
Electrolytes.
Okay. And so we really had a big fight on our honeymoon. And I was like, oh, Lord, this is a problem because
honey,
my drive.
That's not why we had a big fight.
We did have a big fight.
No, we did. We had a big fight, but that's not the reason.
Well, we were always fighting for other reasons, but that contributed to it. And what I'll say is like over the years, God has definitely, like, I think really done some things and transformed some things in that, right? And so I tend to be a little more Like, I want to experiment with things and play with things, and that's his soul. No knives. That's fine. We don't have to do the knives. But we like experimenting and playing with different things and incorporating, fun things into our marriage. And so he's open to that. So to your point about like, is anything off limits? Only if your spouse isn't comfortable with it, right? Like, I want him to feel good. He wants me to feel good. And this is about creating oneness together and whatever that means. I don't ever want to introduce things or techniques that make him uncomfortable or that he doesn't like or enjoy, right?
Techniques.
And vice versa. A nice story. Right? But it's also like, can we, let's try it, see how we like it, see how our body responds to it. Because this is where it happens, right? Like, I have the gift of his body and he has the gift of my body.
Okay.
And we also have the gift of being able to bring a sexual experience to life with each other. And that's the only place it can reside, right? So how can we, see it to the fullest, right? When you are studying something and when you are pursuing something, how do you continue to make the A, right? How do you continue to learn and grow? And so that also needs to happen in your sex life, right? Because once you've done a thing,
in the spirit world, how you go get your A, girl?
Right.
That'll preach.
this is what
How you gonna get your
it
A's?
becomes mundane. It becomes routine, right? Like, you got to mix it up, right? Like, if you have the same thing for breakfast every day, at some point, I'm done with the grits and eggs. Give me some bacon. Give me some sausage. Mix it up a little bit. So you got to still do that with your spouse and keep things fresh and interesting. So.
Okay, now I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. The real story.
What's the real story?
On the honeymoon. See, you were enjoying yourself. You were having a good time.
That was separate.
No. You were having a good time, and you were enjoying yourself, and so she's like smacking me. All right, fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big, I can take a smack. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? I took it as a congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Like, good job. I'm like, yeah. Got me a little more excited, And then what she didn't recognize, so I'll see this big ring on this beautiful.
Yeah, I was actually wearing my wedding ring during
but it
the
was
slap.
turned around the other way.
It was not.
The wedding ring was turned around the other way. And I caught one right here at the tempo. All right? And she always put me to sleep that night. My vision. Wait a minute. I didn't sign up for this. Wait a minute. So
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. It was 15 years ago. So, but yeah, that was part of our exciting honeymoon.
I got a visual and I can't get it out. I can't get it out. It's good job.
Congratulatory.
Wow, encouragement and everything.
I know. I love it. I
wow.
love it.
So, show's over.
Right. Good night. I said, let's jump right into it. So now we didn't shut it down.
Pretty much every other topic we're going to cover after this is going to seem very boring.
Right.
So, like, share, subscribe before you click off.
Exactly.
Now that we've had the juiciest part of the discussion.
I was like, let's jump right in.